Budapest is the capital of Hungary. The town spreads on the banks of the river Danube. It is considered to be one of the most beautiful cities in the world. Budapest, including the banks of the Danube, the Buda Castle Quarter, and Andrassy Avenue are listed in the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Initially, two settlements were located on the opposite banks of the Danube. Buda towered on a hill and Pest on the plain, which were subsequently combined into one city. It is quite difficult to tell the date of birth of the capital of Hungary. With a significant degree of certainty, one thing that can be said is that the first settlements were built on the Buda side of the city. The Celts, Scythians, Huns, and other people built their fortresses and cities here, and they provided historians with a theme for numerous disputes about the ruins of which particular settlement to be considered the prototype of the future capital. At first, after the ancestors of the modern Hungarians, the Magyars migrated far from their Turkic sources to the west, and they didn't look like nomads. But if you take a closer look, there are a lot of similarities between Hungary and Kazakhstan. In the last decade, Hungary has seen a rise in national identity and interest in nomadic culture. The search of a national idea is an actual topic for modern Kazakhstan. Despite the thousands of kilometers between the two states and people, Kazakhstan and Hungary have fruitful and friendly relations. The continuation of this friendly relation is proved with the tour of Mukhtar Auezov Kazakh State Academic Drama Theatre held with the support of the Kazakh Ministry of Culture and Sports. For the first time, the oldest creative team of Kazakhstan performed on the main stage of the National Theatre of Budapest with its legendary performance, The Curse of Korkyt. On the eve of the Hungarian premiere, the conference was organized at the National Theatre of Budapest, dedicated to the tour of Kazakh theatre and the 75th anniversary of Hungarian scientist and Turkologist Professor István Mandoki. All this art palette is very close to the instruments of Hungarian poetry. The Hungarians are generally in a special position. In one hand, the Turks, in the other, Bach. On the one hand, Europeans, on the other, nomads of Eastern people. Our country is like a bridge. István Mandoki is considered to be the founder of European Kipchak studies. His main research interests were Turkic philology, the ancient history of the Magyars, ethnography, and the ethnic history of the Han Kipchaks in Hungary, as well as Kazakh-Han similarities of language and ethnography.
Нас, венгров, интересует Восток. Восток, потому что наши венгры начали так копать точно историю и как-то узнать, откуда...
Hungarians are interested in the East studies. It is interesting to study where Hungarians come from the East or from Inner Asia or from the Urals. It all started in the 19th century, and then there were wars. The study of historical facts took many years. Then a new generation of scientists like Mandoki started to learn all these facts. He had two goals. It was necessary to find some similarities with the Hungarians and Turks, Hungarians and Mongols, Siberian people and others to study these languages and cultures.
Параллели с венграми и тюрками, с венграми и монголами, и, например, сибирскими народами, а другой, чтобы изучать эти языки и культуры.
Hungarian scholars, directors, and acting cast of the Kazakh theatre and author of the play, The Curse of Korkyt, and famous Kazakh poet and playwright Iranbek Orazbayev, better known as Iran Gaib, attended the conference.
Переживание дегеннен өтіп кеткен адам, жазып қартайған, 70-тен асқан адам ғой. Бірақ осы күнді күткенім рас.
I always have this special feeling. I am over 70 years old, but really, I was waiting for this day. This performance, which is called Korkyt, is familiar to all of us since childhood. It was written in the 80s of the last century. During that time, we did not know about our future, and we were worried about it. All the characters of the play, the author also experienced difficult times like Korkyt.
қатысатын кейіпкерлері де, қорқыттың өзі де, авторы да сол қорқыт күйін бастан кешіргендіктен осындай дүниеге келді.
The artists of Auezov Kazakh Drama Theatre arrived in the capital of Hungary to participate in the 6th MADAC International Theatre meeting, which was included in the top of the most influential and cultural events in this industry.
У каждого фестиваля свои условия, и от того, как ты сделаешь презентацию, зависит вообще очень многое. Зависит от того, что принят будет.
Each festival has its own conditions, and a lot depends on how you make the presentation, whether it will be accepted or purchased. This is a colossal job. If you want to bring the performance, the application must be submitted in 1.5 years. We submitted ours a little later, but they liked the performance so much, and since we have a historical connection between the Hungarians and Kazakhstan, they found the financial resources for the project to take place. But in this case, we had a co-production between the countries. Kazakhstan paid for the flights, and the festival covered all other expenses.
А все остальное уже предоставил фестиваль.
Within 3 weeks, groups from 12 countries performed at the National Theatre of Budapest, including Germany, France, Portugal, and Russia. In just 6 years of its existence, 90 art groups from 32 countries took part in the theatrical meeting.
Для нации, которая небольшая, страна здесь, в середине Европы, в мире, который определяется глобализацией. Главный.
We are a small country located here in the middle of Europe, and globalization is an important thing. The main question for us is how we can preserve our nation, our culture, those fantastic achievements that we have, how we can promote them, and how to conduct dialogue with our traditions and to preserve them. Of course, we should also respect the great achievements of other nations and preserve our traditions. Therefore, we are extremely interested in the theaters that deal with these problems, their roots, traditions, and therefore the theater from Kazakhstan is in the top 10 list. According to the philosophy of our theater and festival.
Своими традициями, и поэтому театр из Казахстана как бы в десятку по философии нашего театра.
We know very little about each other. We just feel some kind of sympathy. Good feelings arise when we meet and when we begin to study our history a little deeper and to know more about our cultural heritage.
Когда встречаемся и когда начинаем немножко глубже изучать нашу историю, наши культурные наследие.
The National Theatre of Budapest was founded in 1837. Over the years, its troupe has moved to at least 4 buildings. In 2002, the official opening of the new theatre, built according to the idea of architect Maria Shiklosh, took place. Visitors are greeted by a stone sculpture of the curtain and sculptural compositions of famous Hungarian theatre artists in their most famous roles. The main facade was originally built. The main entrance looks like the bow of a ship pointing to the parliament.
А тут рядом, если посмотреть, мы видим потонувшийся фасад здания.
If you look from here, we can see the half-sunken facade of the building, which is a very specific architectural quote from the bombed building built in 1965 during socialism.
В 1965 году, когда, это еще при социализме,
The National Theatre of Budapest and its troupe were a stronghold, a center of national identity, and this was not promoted during Soviet times. And thus, by demolishing the building, the regime tried to destroy the identity of the Hungarian people through culture.
Разрушив здание, тот режим пытался и как-то уничтожить именно это национальное сознание венгерского народа через культуру.
Despite the fact that the building was destroyed, for more than 40 years, the Hungarians strove to build a building for the theatre again. The builders tried to express all this in architectural form.
Свое здание для национального театра. Мы, то есть строители, попытались все это выразить именно в архитектурной форме.
Kazakh theatre has a unique opportunity to represent the country in the international arena. This is not their first foreign tour. Last year, they performed the same performance as part of the International Theatre Festival in France. Duliga Akmolda is a Kazakh film and theatre actor and honored worker of Kazakhstan. He plays the leading part of Korkyt in the performance with the same name.
Korkyt деген кезде бүкіл түркі тілдес халықтардың барлығына бірдей үлкен тұлға деп айтуға болады. Әрине оңай емес. Бұл енді Иранғайып ағамыздың бір бірден бір үлкен философияға.
When we talk about Korkyt, all Turkic-speaking people considers him to be a philosopher. Of course, it is not easy to perform this part. This is one of the best and philosophical plays written by Iran Gaib. It is written in blank verse. To convey the meaning of this play is a challenge. When we were in Avignon, we staged this play 5 times in 1 week. We needed more time for preparation, both in terms of moral and physical sense of the word.
Физикалық дайындықты қажет ететін, морально психикалық үлкен дайындықты қажет ететін спектакль.
The preparations for the play started long before and continued in Budapest. Initially, the Curse of Korkyt performance, staged by Lithuanian director Ivan Vaitkus, was created for foreign audience. Therefore, all the scenery for the play was adapted for touring performances.
На данный момент идет монтаж декорации к спектаклю «Korkyt». Вся соответствующая декорация выехала за 20 дней до начала спектакля, и все, приехали, и сейчас наши техники совместно.
At the moment, the installation of the scenery for the Korkyt performance is underway. All the relevant scenery left 20 days before the performance arrived, and now our technicians, together with colleagues from the Hungarian theatre, are engaged in setting the stage. We think that in about an hour, we will be ready and we will begin the planned rehearsal. We are happy to bring the full staff and all the scenery to stage it like we do at the Auezov Theatre. We didn't have this opportunity in France because we didn't fit to their stage space. 40 people, including technicians, actors, came here. We have the largest team. We are excited and happy to be here.
Нас приехало около 40 человек вместе с техниками, с актерами, поэтому это большой состав, в который мы выезжаем.
The costumes created with great detail as well as makeup play a major role in Kazakh performance. We decided to talk to actress Danagul Demir Sultanova when she was doing the makeup. She has been working in the theatre for many years. She's famous for her vivid and memorable characters in the films.
Мать Коркыта, ну это действительно такое произведение, вы, наверное, сами его видели, смотрели во Франции.
I play Korkyt's mother. This is an amazing work. You probably watch it both in France and in Almaty in our theatre. The thing is that everyone is responsible for himself or herself, although parents cannot give their lives for their child. Not because they don't want to help their child, it just comes down to the fact that every person is responsible for his or her actions. You can't just do what you want.
К тому, что в этом мире, вообще в жизни, каждый человек отвечает за свои поступки сам.
The Hungarian audience was anticipating the arrival of the theatre troupe from Kazakhstan. The tickets for the play were sold out in a few days. In general, the locals are big fans of theatrical art. Last year, more than 8 million theatre tickets were sold out throughout the country, with a population of no more than 10 million people. This 1.5-hour play immerses the audience in a world full of symbolism, sacredness, and mythologism created by actors, as well as the sets and lighting designs of the production. The performance was accompanied by subtitles in Hungarian and English languages. I really liked this production. I'm very glad that the theatre has combined the past with the present events. We also have a theatrical production titled Human Tragedy. This is a similar performance. I read about this production in advance. I really like the ancient Kazakh folk instrument kobis. I listened to the Kazakh folk music on YouTube and TV. I really like the Kazakh culture. I want to visit your theaters and I want you to visit our country more often. We really like the play. At the end of the performance, the audience discussed the play and expressed their opinions about the cast at the hall of the National Theatre. They were eager to share their impressions about the play and to meet with the actors. The Kazakh theatre is completing its tour in Hungary, but in the end, before the long journey home, Kazakh soloists performed a beautiful song of the country of the Great Steppe at the National Theatre of Budapest. The cast presented their art to a knowledgeable and grateful audience, and they wanted to thank the audience before saying goodbye.